Good morning. Welcome to the Tune In. I'm Nikkola of Nikita Co. And I'm also going live on Instagram. I'm sorry I won't be looking directly at you. This is the first time I have gone live on both platforms, and I'm not savvy enough to make it possible so that I'm looking in the eye for both. So please bear with me. This space, the Tune In, is to create an environment where you can connect with yourself. The whole purpose of this is to uncover the wisdom that's already inside you. I fully believe and know and trust that we all have that all the time. And what I want to do is create a space where you can dive in and listen there. And I'm going to do that by asking you questions and sharing some things that have happened for me along the way. So this week, I've been talking about core desired feelings. So my book is over there. So Danielle Laporte has a beautiful book and lots of work called The Desire Map, and it's to help you tune in with your most desired feelings. So if we imagine the spectrum of things that are available for us to experience in the human realm, what are the ones that we most want to feel? So there's lots of work to dive in and see for yourself what those feelings are. We're not going to talk about that now. But I just want to ask you to think about what your life could be like if you lived it with those feelings as your priority. It's really possible, but it's certainly not something that we think about or very much or sort of encouraged to do in our society, because feelings and intuition and sort of your own inner guidance are dismissed as not being as valuable or as important as logic and scientific reasoning. I really am here to challenge you on that if that's a space that you have spent a lot of your life in, because this is the idea of gut instinct. This is that part of you that seems to know better than you do. Cultivating the courage to listen to that gut instinct and to, to follow through on what it's telling you is so much about recognizing your worth. So something that's really coming to me very strongly right now that I want to share with you is that you deserve to feel the way you want to feel. Why would we be given this beautiful spectrum of feelings that we can experience in our human life if it wasn't to be so that we felt them? I know there's lots of shame and limiting belief and conditioning from a very young age that means we may not believe we deserve to feel these things. But we absolutely do. It's part of our divine birthright of being on the planet and being a human and having this beautiful intelligence and intuition available to us. So when it comes to your most desired feelings, the question is then, okay, well, great. I most want to experience lightness, for example, but my life is really heavy. I've got, stresses, strains, some relationships that are in not in the best state. My job feels heavy on me. So how am I going to feel lightness? Just because you think you want to feel something doesn't mean you get to. And again, I want to challenge that notion. How could you create lightness in your life in a small way? So what are small things that make you feel light? And perhaps it might be very simple things like taking 5 minutes to breathe fresh air outside, or chatting with a particular friend. You always feel light after you speak to her. These things are so tiny, but they're so available to us, and we get to choose what we bring into every day. That's absolutely up to us. So even though it might seem far away, it might seem that it's not accessible to you because you don't have the things in place in your life like a great job, a relationship that you can fully be yourself in, got good communication in, these things that we believe if they are in place, then we will be able to feel those feelings. How can you create them in the smallest possible way so that you can feel a little bit of them every day? And on the big scale, so that's kind of thinking short term, in the bigger scale of things, how can you create a life where that feeling of lightness is actually the priority? So this really comes back to alignment with what your inner wisdom is telling you, and getting so clear on that. And you absolutely have to start with creating space. When we're caught in what I call the rat race, that unconscious doing constantly in order to sort of stay on the wheel, it's really hard to get that awareness and to listen to yourself. So again, just start small. Spend 5 or 10 minutes just being quiet. Create that space to heighten your awareness. And it's really in that space you can get clear on how you do want to feel. And slowly, as you spend time with that feeling and you notice how important it is to you, you can imagine your life with that as the priority. So for example, for myself, the core desired feeling is freedom. So I really want to feel like that's my priority, is to feel free and unencumbered, unlimited, so that I can always be myself and I always have space to grow, to be creative. And making that feeling a priority has meant that I've had to make some other decisions, not easy decisions, to clear the way for that. And you might think, well, great, easier said than done. But what is the alternative? How else would you choose to live your life than to be filled with joy, lightness, freedom, connection? It's a matter of how much you are willing to go through your life without being in tune with yourself. And it breaks my heart a little bit, actually, to think about what that could be like. And I'm surrounded by people who are doing it, who haven't created that space, and that's absolutely not from a space of judgment. I want to hold an opportunity for people to make that the priority. Make listening to your inner voice the priority, and have the courage to stay in alignment with that wisdom. You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. It's so clear to me, like, why else are we here on the planet other than to fully express ourselves and to be in a state of joy and alignment with who we really are? So I want to give you some inspiration on that and some courage for how you can do it, because again, this could feel overwhelming. In your month or even in your week, what activities can you choose that give you those feelings you most want to feel? So again, I'll use the example of freedom. So for me, that really comes down to, that's very strongly connected with creativity. So how many times in my week can I make sure there's a block of time where I am free creating? There's no pressure on me for, to publish something or, to share something with the world, because that does change it a little bit. How many times a week can I play the piano for myself? How can I prioritize that? And if that means giving up TV time or saying no to an engagement because this is my priority, then so be it. It's absolutely my choice. This notion that, we were so obliged to, be there for other people and just kind of run ourselves flat. Like, I definitely used to feel like that. So everybody else's joy and comfort was of higher importance than my own, and it meant that there was just nothing left for me. And I've flipped that on its head now. And I encourage you, just in the smallest way, to make some room for your priorities of how you want to feel. Imagine if your whole life was based on those feelings. And this doesn't mean disallowing all the other feelings. It doesn't mean ignoring or pretending that the more challenging feelings and negative state feelings don't exist. They're absolutely part of it. They're the thing that gives us the chance for such huge joy. It means that the decisions that you make in your life are about those feelings. So when you think about you're asked to join a new netball team. Think, is that going to give me, my core, my most desired feelings? And I have 4 of them for the year, and we check in on those every single month. That's what Danielle Laporte encourages you to do in the book. Is the netball team going to give me those feelings, or is it going to get in the way of the things that I know give me the feelings more? Those kinds of questions. It all comes down to alignment. Always comes down to alignment. And the more time you spend with yourself listening and cultivating that trust in your alignment, because the more you do it, the more you trust it, then it becomes really easy to notice what's the right thing for you or not. So when someone asks you to do something, your gut instinct, you'll be like, okay, it's saying no, go with the no. And it just gets easier over time. So this is big work. It's really big work. But I just want to show you how simple it can be on the small scale. What can I bring into my life this week that gives me the feeling of lightness, or gives me the feeling of creativity, or gives me the feeling of joy, love, abundance, being in integrity? What can I do? And how can I make those activities a priority in my week? Don't try and do everything at once. Just pick a couple. Don't let it get overwhelming. So the activities that come from my core desired feelings are my morning ritual, yoga, collaborating with people, and free play. So everything else has to come after that, and it's not easy. I've got to remind myself constantly, and that's why I do the monthly check-ins as a reminder in my calendar every first of the month, every month, to check back in with those things. Am I prioritizing them? And why did I choose them? Why did I choose them in the first place? They are super important to me. I know that they're going to help create those core desired feelings, and that is how I want to live my life. That is my priority. I know that all good things come from that place when I'm in alignment with myself and my inner wisdom. So what can you bring into your life that makes you feel epic? And how can you love yourself through the process? Self-compassion and patience underlies every single thing we can do in the personal growth arena. Love and compassion, waking up, putting your feet on the ground and saying, I am enough, every single day, is what will keep you connected to this mission. It's not about judging yourself. It's not about constantly striving to be better, to do more, to give more. It's about loving yourself always. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. And if you're keen, I am going to go live again tomorrow, and I'm going to share my LEAP story and why it is that I'm doing LEAP coaching. So if you want to know a bit more about me and how I've gotten to this point, some of the big choices that I've made to get in alignment with my soul's voice and those core desired feelings, then do jump on. And if there's something that's resonated here for you, please share it with your buddies. This is something we're all in together. It's the connection of a group of people that are trying to rise in themselves and as a community that is going to make the difference. This is how we're going to heal the world. So big kisses to you, and I will see you soon. Mwah.